The fan buzzed above me with its soft, hypnotic hum, and the summer heat pressed itself against my skin like a warm, invisible blanket. My room smelled faintly of the rain that had fallen earlier, mixing with the scent of old books and the faint traces of the fabric softener on my sheets. I was dreaming. I remember that clearly. It wasn't a happy dream, but it was far better than waking. A soft creak pulled me upward from that hazy place between dreams and awareness. I didn't open my eyes right away. I thought it was just the house settling, or maybe Dad heading to the kitchen for water, like he always did after midnight. But then came a whisper, Ion, my brother's voice. It was low, barely there, like it didn't want to exist in the world at all. That alone made my chest tighten, even before the words that followed. I need to tell you something. I still didn't open my eyes. I was lying on my side, facing the wall, my back to the door. I didn't move, didn't breathe loudly, hoping he'd think I was asleep and go away. Something in his tone frightened me, not in the way a storm scares a child, but the way silence does when it falls after you hear your name whispered in a crowd. I heard him step closer, felt the air shift slightly. My eyelids fluttered open slowly, heart knocking against my ribs. I shouldn't be saying this now, but you need to know. I turned groggy and disoriented, but when I saw his silhouette in the doorway, hands clenched at his sides, head lowered like a child being scolded, I knew I had no choice but to listen. The light from the hallway made his face visible, barely. He looked older than I remembered, like he had lived 10 years in the hours since we had last spoken that evening. His voice cracked like brittle glass. It's about Mom. I sat up without thinking. My body moved before my brain caught up. What happened? He blinked like the word itself was poison. She's not who we thought. The silence between us was immediate and cold, like a slap in the face. I stared at him, waiting for more. His eyes flicked to the side, as if the wall behind me could somehow absorb the weight of what he was about to unload. She's been lying to us for years. I didn't understand. I tried to grasp the corners of his words, but they slipped through me like fog. My breath quickened. What are you talking about? He stepped into the room, the floorboards groaning under his feet. I noticed the way his shoulders hunched, like he was bracing himself for impact. I went to her room earlier. She was on a call. I wasn't supposed to hear it, but I did. He swallowed. It wasn't a work call. It was about us, about Dad, about things she's been hiding. I blinked rapidly, trying to ground myself in the room, in the now. The walls felt smaller, the air thinner. I reached for the blanket around my legs, gripping it like a lifeline. What did she say? He hesitated. It's not just what she said. It's what I found after, in her drawer, letters, documents, a photo. Each word landed with the weight of a punch. I kept shaking my head as if I could deny them back into silence. Why were you even going through her stuff? I didn't mean to, he said quickly. I was looking for her charger. Mine broke, and then I saw the folder. It had my name on it. His voice trembled now, and I noticed the way he kept blinking, fighting something behind his eyes. It wasn't just about me, it was about both of us. I looked away from him then, toward the window. The curtains swayed slightly with the night breeze. Crickets chirped outside. Nothing felt real. What was in it? He paused for a long time. I thought he might back out. I kind of hoped he would. But then he said it. Our Dad isn't my biological father. The room collapsed inward. My ears rang. I stared at him, unable to form any words. What? He sat down on the edge of the bed, far from me, like even he didn't believe he belonged there. She had an affair before you were born, before they were married, I think. She never told him, never told me, but the letters were from the man. He begged her to let him be in my life. My mouth was dry. How long have you known? An hour, he said. I've been walking around the house like a ghost, not knowing if I should wake you up or just keep it to myself. A sudden wave of nausea swept over me. I got up and went to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face. The reflection in the mirror looked foreign, my eyes too wide, my skin too pale. When I walked back, he was still sitting there, hands folded in his lap like a child in trouble. I couldn't stop shaking. My teeth even chattered slightly, so all this time, all these years, he nodded, every birthday, every family dinner, every photo, she knew, and she said nothing. We sat there in silence for what felt like hours. The house was too quiet. I could hear the fridge hum downstairs and the soft groan of wood settling. She looked at Dad every single day and kept it from him. I whispered, "I don't know if he knows." He replied, "He might, or maybe he always suspected, but what kind of life is that? What kind of love?" I stared at the wall, numbness spreading over me like frostbite. The woman who sang us lullabies, packed our school lunches, smiled through scraped knees and broken hearts. She was suddenly a stranger. "What does this mean for us?" I asked, voice cracking. He looked at me then, for the first time really looked at me. I don't know. I remembered being kids playing hide and seek in the backyard. He'd always count extra slow for me, give me more time to hide. I remembered how he used to crawl into my bed when thunder shook the house and pretend he was just checking on me. I remembered the way he always stood between me and the world, even when I didn't ask him to. None of that changed, not really, but something else had. He wiped his face, though I didn't realize he'd been crying. I thought I'd feel different, like something inside me would snap, but I just feel empty. I knew the feeling. It spread through my limbs like ink in water, curling, staining, marking everything. "What are you going to do?" I asked. He shook his head. "I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever be able to look at her the same again." There was a quiet beat between us. "Does this change how you feel about Dad?" "No," he said immediately, almost too fast. "He raised me. He taught me everything. He's my father, no matter what that paper says." I nodded. That truth at least felt solid. We both laid back on the bed, like we were kids again, staring at the ceiling. The fan still spun above, but it no longer brought any comfort. Just noise in a world that suddenly felt foreign. I always thought if something like this ever happened, we'd be older, I said. Like, grown and married with our own kids. "Yeah," he replied softly, "but life never waits until you're ready." The air between us grew heavier, like the truth itself was sitting in the room with us. Neither of us spoke for a long time. I think we both knew deep down that from this point on, things wouldn't ever be the same. Not just with Mom, not with each other either, not in a bad way, but like something delicate between us had cracked. Even though I wanted to hold on to how things used to be, I knew I couldn't unknow this. I couldn't pretend tomorrow that we were just the same two siblings who bickered about cereal and shared inside jokes in the car. I reached over and squeezed his hand. He squeezed back, and for a moment, just a moment, it felt like maybe we could survive it.